Hey there! Welcome back to Reddit Dating, best channel for cheating stories. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more spicy stories.
Wife cheated with younger guy. My wife and I have been married for almost 17 years. I'm 39 and she's 42. We married after having our first kid together, and honestly our marriage was going pretty well, and this came out of nowhere, at least for me. Our sex life was good, had regular and good sex, but nonetheless this happened, and I'm not sure what to do about it. The guy she cheated on me with is 22. He's the son of a family friend who moved here to go to school, and was staying with us as we have a spare room. We felt comfortable letting him stay with us cause both my wife and I know his parents, who are great people. When he got here everything went well. He got along with our kids and was polite and respected our rules. Wasn't loud at night, really fit in with us and wasn't a burden. My kids are back in school, I'm back at work in the office, but my wife does her work from home still, and he has a lot of online classes as his school has a hybrid model of classes. I noticed them getting closer than the rest of us, but I didn't think anything of it cause why would I? I have a healthy marriage and sure, this guy is good looking, tall, muscular, but I didn't feel worried something would happen. Then I started getting feelings something was off. My wife would want less sex, be less into it, less affectionate overall, just kinda pulling away while I noticed she was all smiles with the new guy. One night she would have cramps, a headache, not in the mood when before she would rarely say these things, and we had a pretty active sex life. My suspicions were put at ease when she would have moments of going back to being her usual self in regards to sex and affection, but this was only momentary as she would resume being more distant. One day I decided to go home for lunch, as I wanted to try spending more time with my wife to see if it would help our situation. I don't live too far, but it's still a decent drive, but I got the okay to take an extended lunch. So I get home, and it's pretty quiet, and I notice no one is in the living room or kitchen, which was odd considering it's lunchtime. I check in the downstairs office my wife works in, but she isn't there. Then I start hearing something from our bedroom. It was the familiar sound of my wife moaning. My stomach sank and knotted, and I felt like throwing up as I heard her moan. I went into a brief moment of denial, but really I knew what was going on as my suspicions were confirmed. I heard some more moans and my wife moan yes, and I wanted to throw up. I walked up as quietly as I could and approached our bedroom, hearing intermittent moans, bed squeaks, and the slapping sound of bodies hitting together during sex get louder the closer I got. The door was open and I first saw their clothes on the floor, and on the bed was my wife and the new guy. They were facing the headboard having sex style, facing away from the door so I had side-angle view of their backs, so they couldn't see that I saw them. I just froze watching my wife getting by this guy, as he pulled her hair, and spanked her, and she loved it. I didn't know what to do, if I should confront them, surprise her later with divorce papers, get off, so I decided to wait. I walked back down to my car and drove off and just sat in a parking lot replaying what I saw over and over again. When I got home she acted like nothing happened, kissed me to greet me, but all I could think about was how his was probably in her mouth earlier today. He was cordial as usual, but all I could think of was what a piece of shit he was, and her too. Can't believe she did this to me. Can't really get out of my head hearing that first moan, seeing her clothes thrown on the floor, and her getting fucked. This was last week, and I'm not sure where I go from here. Just felt like getting this off my chest as I don't really have anyone to go to with this, and not sure what to do. Story 2. My wife got pregnant by my younger brother and family knew about it. They demand I forgive them or they'll disown me. I'm 39 male, been married to my wife 36 female for 15 years. I also have a son 13. My family consists of mom 58 dead 62 sister 30 years old and younger brother 22. Last year, I found my wife crying in our bedroom. I consoled her, and she tells me she's pregnant. I was elated and explained to her that's great news. The color of her face changed and she tells me it is, and leaves the room. It was weird. During that time, I also found out about excessive time spending on phone. I took care of her alone, did the cooking and cleaning alone, because the COVID situation was high so no one could come in here. She gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She's just like her mother, adorable. Fast forward to last month and this month, my brother used to frequently visit us, which I thought was fine until it got every day, but hey, he's my baby brother. This month, we went to our parents to stay there for 2 weeks. I saw my wife getting awkwardly close to my brother. I was the primary breadwinner of both families. My father owned a few shops which were under my direct control. I am an investment banker. And apart from this, we also have several housing that we rented out. So I stayed busy most of the time. But whenever I came home, I saw my wife and brother spending time together, which was weird considering she was close to my sister before. I also see my sister spending time more with me. I get the sense something is up and my sister wants to tell me something. I asked her several times, but she assures me everything's all right. Last week, my father asked me to spend some time with him fishing. Just me and him. I agreed, during which he tells me stories about fish and how he spent his time with his father here. He goes on to praise me for how good a son I was. And he's proud of me. I sense there's a bigger picture. He also tells me that he's disappointed in my brother because he has no goal set. He doesn't work, does pot, smokes, and has alcoholism. My father wasn't very close to my younger brother, but my mom was when we were leaving. He tells me he has to go somewhere, gives me the fishing kit and a small paper, and leaves telling me I should open the paper after he has left. When I opened the paper, my entire world turns upside down. It was a DNA test. I'm not the father to my daughter. I rushed to my family home, everyone was there, and confront my wife and brother. They both accepted and apologized to me, telling it was a mistake. I further find out it has been going on for a year, and they both love each other. My wife consoles me saying that she can't change what happened and she will always be sorry for me. I'm a perfect husband, father, son, but I couldn't be a good lover because I spend excessive time outside. Mind you, people, I take her to vacation twice a year, date nights once or twice a month, we get intimate twice or thrice a week. Always asked her if she was all right. She could have told me once, she could have talked. My sister chimes in and tell me she knew and she couldn't bring herself to tell me. Hearing of the commotion, my mom comes with the baby. She explains to me that she can't change the outcome. My wife and brother already have a baby together. My son grew attached to it. I should accept it and move on. I was the older brother and I should forgive them. I call her out and told her, how can my own family betray me like that? I told my wife I don't need a wife for whom I have to compete with other men. Despite her being my wife, told her she will get the divorce papers, and told my backstabbing brother that I always stood up for him. And now he is the one to backstab me and left this place. My phone was blowing up. My father told me he is with me. But he can't say anything openly due to my mother. He tells me he's sorry for being a bad father, also told me my mom knew about the affair. She just didn't speak about it. I told him I don't care. I don't need a family that stabs me in the back, and he can gladly cut me off from the family after divorce. I haven't told her family yet. My STB ex-wife calls me every day. 100+ times, texts me my son misses me. My brother hasn't reached out to me yet. My sister apologized to me, telling me she should have, but she couldn't be a good sister, and that I am the role model for her. She is always proud to have me. I haven't replied to them at all. My mother called me to tell me we all make mistakes, and we can be a family again, if I decide to forgive. She hinted that my children need a father figure. And if I can't be there, there's my brother to take care of. My family told me the court won't give me custody, and if she stands up for them, things might go wrong for me. That infuriated me, and I blocked her. Haven't talked to any of them the past 2 days. Divorce can be expensive in here, but it is what it is. I haven't told anyone about this. Haven't slept well. Can't eat anything. I feel like I've lost my reason to live. In just a week, I've lost everything. My family, my wife and kids, my dignity, everything. I feel like dying because there is no purpose to my life, at least now. Edit, I talked to the lawyer. I just have to file RN. The lawyer said I'd have to pay spousal support. Getting primary custody will be hard. Above the disestablishment of parents for my daughter. I love her. Even though she's not my daughter. It will take a long time to get it finalized. Divorce here is expensive. I'm looking at around $900 a month of spousal support for her, and their daughter $5,050 custody of my son, and half the asset. I also noticed I wrote a DNA test. Sorry, it was a paternity test of my daughter and brother. It confirmed 99% yes, my brother was 7 when me and my wife got married. I know it's a disgusting fact. Update. This is a small update to my situation. I thought things would be better with time. But it instead turned worse. To anyone wondering, see my earlier post. I left the house after finding out and got my finances in order, met lawyers and started divorce proceedings. I got the papers this Friday. My wife came over. We had a talk. She told me she doesn't want a divorce for our son. She apologizes and acknowledged her fault. I tell her I want a divorce regardless and give her the papers. She had the audacity to initiate the acts like I was going to give in. I told her to leave after that. This Saturday, my sister who lives in the Netherlands came here for vacation, left early after this show, verbally destroying my wife and mother. She called me and we had a talk. She apologized on her part. She was put in a conflicted position. His mom begged her not to tell me. She told me mom was worried about my health and how would I react. Also that my younger brother coerced mom into doing this. I also met my son spending the day with him on Saturday, taking him to a gaming zone that's really popular in here. I told him what I planned. He tells me he knows. My mom weeps every day, his mom, my wife, she's just lost. She doesn't know what to do, conflicted. I found out later another reason my younger brother just smokes pot and drinks alcohol doesn't take up his responsibilities. Sister and I already agreed we are taking our names off from the family and we do not want any of the inheritance. I'm going to cut off myself from the family, move to a different country. My sister already told me she can help if I choose to move to the Netherlands. That might be my destination now after a year of divorce. It isn't easy. Days are long and hard, especially when you think about the incident. I've lost count of how many times I've thrown up. My BP is low tremendously as well as my sugar levels. Yesterday afternoon, my father called and told me mom's in the hospital. She suffered a bad stroke and collapsed in the table during lunch. Her condition isn't very great. Dad told me she wants to meet me. The doctor told us to pray. Her condition isn't good enough to get her discharged. My wife is handling everything for now. My brother is just visiting for a few hours and leaving. My newborn daughter is with my wife in the hospital along with my son and dad. Dad told me this might be it. He wants me to visit it. I've told my sister. She's conflicted about it. I'm being honest. Part of me wants to visit her, but the majority part doesn't. She's my mother no matter what. But she chose to betray me. She chose to hurt me. She chose to support my wife instead of me. It wasn't the cheating that was bothering me. It wasn't that my wife slept with my brother and chose him over me. It was all the betrayals that my family did. It was all that everyone knew and no one chose to tell me. It was that my own mother prioritized her other son, threatened me to cut me off from the family. Now suddenly she's in the hospital and she wants to meet me. I'm not at all doing great or happy regarding this. I think of suicide every day. Therapists suck. They don't do anything else other than vent or actually help you. They're a waste of money. Many of my relatives visited mom in the hospital. Word of my wife's affair got out to a few close relatives. My favorite uncle absolutely destroyed her right in the hospital by calling her and my brother the vilest things. Dad told me this. It took my teenage son to get my uncle into senses and regain calmness. It's entirely a crap show. I've talked to a few friends, they're advising me to divorce, move on, shift to another country, and settle down with someone else. I don't know anything. I don't have any plans. Because right now, I just can't. I can't plan any duking thing. I've talked to my lawyer too. He told me I can get my share of the inheritance. If my mother didn't create a will. I can't get it if I resign my inheritance or if she cuts me off. Nothing of that sort happened. I don't have any interest in inheritance, money, family. I just want my son so I can escape this godforsaken family and just be saying, as for paternity, it's going to be tougher than the divorce itself. Cheating isn't a deal breaker or a trump card in most countries. But being a Som is, and it can destroy you in many ways. However, if I can leave my inheritance share, it might give me an upper hand, and I might not have to pay spousal support. But it all depends on mutual agreement. I found out I can also lodge a complaint in my country against an affair partner, which in this case is my brother. As my son is a minor, I can also get a restraining order against my wife and my brother for my son because the use of alcohol drugs is frowned upon in my country. So I do have some hope. But currently, I'm torn between my mother's condition. I can't believe what 3 weeks can do to you. It honestly is the lowest point of my life. The only thing that's holding me back is my son.